the sick to reach all the corners of the earth.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to a brand new episode of Roundup.
As always, we have a lot to cover from around the world, so let's start off with the headlines.
The panicked residents of Gangneung, South Korea, began to evacuate when they saw the nearby military base in flames with missiles soaring. The military exercise was meant to be a warning for North Korea. However, the ballistic missile failed shortly after launch and hit the ground inside the base. While the rocket didn't explode, the burning rocket fuel lit up the night sky. Officials later confirmed the accident had been part of a drill.
Billionaire Elon Musk is said to be ready to move forward with his acquisition of Twitter after once again changing his mind. Social media giant Twitter had sued Musk to force the takeover, with shareholders saying that Musk should be required to make a substantial deposit in case he backs out.
As the conflict between Russia and Ukraine continues, fears are rising over a potential world war. Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that any attack or intervention by the West considered to be a threat to Russia could result in a nuclear war. While many countries such as the US are taking Russia's threat seriously, some believe Putin may be bluffing, with much of Russia's nuclear arsenal and capability still to be determined.
A small dinosaur skeleton will go on sale in Paris next month and is estimated to sell between 400,000 and 500,000 euros. Unlike huge dinosaur skeletons sold at earlier auctions, this skeleton stands at 1.3 meters high and is 3 meters long. It was discovered in 2019 in Colorado during a road building on private land.
SpaceX launched a rocket into orbit on October 5th, which carried a long-term International Space Station crew. The rocket took off from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral. The crew consisted of a Russian cosmonaut, 2 Americans, and a Japanese astronaut.
Sitting on the outskirts of New Delhi, women fill brightly colored toy bears with stuffing made from something more commonly found in a trash can. Nearly 30% of India's population are tobacco users, and business in Aman Gupta has been cleaning up the streets by safely reprocessing cigarette butts into various products including toys and pillows.
Jazakallah for that. As you probably know, Huzoor, Aidallahu Ta'ala Banasil Aziz, is still on his tour in the USA.
Let's head over to the United States of America to find out more.
शगुफे हम हैं कलियां हम हैं आने सिलसिला हमको सुंदर कर रहा है बाग़बाने सिलसिला.
We are extremely honored and blessed that Huzoor, may Allah be his helper, has blessed us with his presence here in Dallas, Texas.
जा रही है दास्ताने सिलसिला हम शगुफे हम हैं कलियां हम हैं आने सिलसिला हमको सुंदर
दुआ कर लें
बाग़बाने सिलसिला हमको सुंदर कर रहा है बाग़बाने सिलसिला.
आमीन. आज आपको अपनी मस्जिद के इफ्तिताह की अल्लाह ताला तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमा रहा है. गो इसकी तामीर तो कुछ अर्से पहले मुकम्मल हो गई थी, लेकिन इसका अब रस्मी इफ्तिताह हो रहा है. यहाँ मस्जिद के तौर पर शुरू में एक हाल बनाया गया था, लेकिन अब बाकायदा मस्जिद आपने बनाई है. बहरहाल अब एक ख़ूबसूरत अच्छी मस्जिद बन गई है और गुंजाइश के लिहाज से भी काफ़ी वसी है. अल्लाह ताला उन सब को इस मस्जिद का हक़ अदा करने की तौफ़ीक़ अता फ़रमाए जिन्होंने इस मस्जिद की तामीर में हिस्सा लिया। अल्लाह ताला करे कि मस्जिद आपने खालिसतन अल्लाह ताला की रज़ा के हसूल के लिए बनाई हो और हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के इस इरशाद से फैज़ पाने वाले हों जिसमें आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया कि जिसने अल्लाह ताला की रज़ा के हसूल के लिए मस्जिद बनाई, अल्लाह ताला जन्नत में उसके लिए वैसा ही घर बनाएगा।
We are also very lucky to receive special Waqf-e-No classes with Huzoor, which left a lasting impression on all the participants.
When I heard that I was going to be with an in-person mulaqat, I was surprised at first. I was like, wait, seriously, we're going to have in-person? I thought we weren't going to actually have it for a while. So when I heard that I was going to be here, I was at first in doubt. Like, I didn't actually think it was actually going to happen.
Well, I was a bit nervous, but I was a bit excited that I'd finally be getting my chance for this. But nervous because there are so many people.
It's like out of this world. It's like at one time you're like feeling so worried, what if this happens and what if that happens? But when Huzoor walks in, like all of the feelings goes away and all you can think about is Huzoor and all your happy thoughts.
In the beginning, I was actually really nervous at first. I was really happy, I was really nervous. And after we read Zohar Nasr, I was feeling rejuvenated, you could say. I was feeling energetic and I was excited to finally be in the presence of Huzoor after, I think, 3, maybe 4 years around. So I was really happy.
When Huzoor walked in, I was still pretty nervous, but then after 2-3 questions, Huzoor started like making some jokes and it sort of like everybody started laughing. It sort of like eased the mood up.
Well, something that happened before any of the questions happened or any of the things happened was when we walked in and when I sat down, Huzoor just looked right at me and said my full name and said and asked me, which majlis are you from? And in that moment, I was just like frozen for like a quick second and then realized that, oh wait, I need to answer. And then I said that I'm from the Los Angeles majlis.
He was like very funny and he does jokes a lot, so it was nice.
I felt like I learned a lot from him. Like he explained things in a way I've never heard them before, so it answered a lot of my questions. I felt good.
The answers that Huzoor gave were very inspiring and some answers that I'd never even thought that would have been possible, and some answers that I would never have even thought of myself.
Yeah, I'm very satisfied that Huzoor came and he took the time out to do a class with us and come all the way to the USA.
By the grace of Allah, we have benefited so much from being with Huzoor, may Allah be his helper, and pray that we continue to become closer to Khilafat, inshaAllah.
Jazakallah for that report. Now it's time for the most important segment of the show.
That's right. Let's head over to the Friday Sermon Summary.
Assalamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters. During this week's Friday sermon, Huzoor spoke in great detail about achieving the true purpose of building a mosque. Did you know the Ahmadiyya Muslim community was first established in the United States of America in the year 1920 by Mufti Muhammad Sadiq Saab? During this week's sermon, Huzoor, may Allah be his helper, said that Allah the Almighty has blessed the Dallas Jamaat to inaugurate its mosque. Beloved Huzoor said that the goal of building a mosque for the sake of Allah is not finished once the building is complete. Rather, we can only gain Allah's happiness when we obey His commandments and worship Him. Dear brothers and sisters, this is a wonderful reminder for us all to always remember that we can only achieve Allah's happiness if we never forget to worship Him and follow what He has told us to do. Beloved Huzoor said that we should understand our responsibilities as Ahmadi Muslims who have accepted the promised Messiah alayhi salam. Huzoor reminded us that as Ahmadis we should fill the mosque, live in peace with each other and try to spread the true teachings of Islam to the world. Huzoor also explained that the promised Messiah alayhi salam once said that if you wish to introduce Islam, then you should build a mosque. However, my brothers and sisters, Huzoor said that once a mosque is built, it attracts others, and it is our duty to take care of them and show them that we always put our faith first. During this week's sermon, Huzoor, may Allah be his helper, mentioned that in order to fulfill the responsibilities of a mosque, we should always act justly. Our actions inside our home and outside should be the same. We should treat our neighbors with kindness, but also treat those at home with the same kindness. Dear viewers, from this we should understand that we should not simply treat those we do not know with respect, but also those living at our home, which includes our parents, brothers and sisters. Beloved Huzoor, during the sermon said that the Holy Prophet ﷺ once said a time will come when Islam in the world will not be the same and will lose its true self. But that is also the time when the promised Messiah ﷺ will come and bring Islam back to its original form. Huzoor said that as people who have accepted the promised Messiah, it is our duty to show the world the true message of Islam. In this week's sermon, Huzoor, may Allah be his helper, also said that we must be confident in knowing that the world can only be saved by us, as those who have accepted the promised Messiah ﷺ, and understand that everyone can only be saved if they too accept him. Dear brothers and sisters, Huzoor, may Allah be his helper, said that the promises made to the promised Messiah ﷺ by God will take place, but it is up to us if we would like to be part of those blessings and promises. Huzoor said the only way we can become part of those blessings is if we remove our weaknesses, such as arrogance and behaving proudly, and we should always try our best to become better people. Huzoor also said that we should always try to improve and keep our prayers safe. Never forget our purpose in this world, which is to worship God. But this can only be done if we make a relationship with Allah the Almighty first. Therefore, my brothers and sisters, we should always try to improve our relationship with Allah first, so that we can continue with our prayers in the best way. Dear brothers and sisters, this was just a very brief summary of last week's Friday sermon, which was filled with many interesting stories and incidents. We hope you are able to hear the full sermon, which can be found on mta.tv. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah for that.
As you may have heard, Iran is a country which has been on the news recently due to recent events.
Let's go and find out more.
Over the past 2 weeks, women in Iran have been out on the streets protesting. The rallies have spread all over the country, and the government is clamping down with force. It has shut down the internet and social media, so protesters can't mobilize. At least 83 people, including children, have been killed, according to human rights groups, and numerous people have also been arrested. Protests are nothing new, but what exactly has sparked this widespread anger? After the Iranian Revolution in 1979, religious hardliners who took over imposed a strict dress code. Morality police enforce the dress code and can even fine or arrest women who don't conform to those standards. 2 weeks ago, a 22-year-old woman, Mahsa Amini, died in police custody after she was arrested for not wearing the hijab according to those standards. The police say she died of a heart attack, but others say she was beaten up by officers. And since then, women in Iran have come out to protest over the discontent about the politics of the country and its restrictive laws. Some Iranian activists say that forcing them to wear the hijab makes them dislike their religion, and that the laws don't take into account different variations of the hijab according to cultural or ethnic differences.
I went to see Huzoor Baji to find out more.
Assalamu alaikum, Huzoor Baji. Why do you wear a hijab?
Assalamu alaikum. I wear the hijab because I'm a Muslim woman. Men and women are both told in the Quran to wear loose clothing and dress modestly. Women are told to cover their heads and their chest, and men are told to lower their eyes to the ground when they are around women and to not stare at women either.
Do you feel safer when you wear a hijab?
I do feel safer when I wear the hijab, as it lets people know around me that I'm Muslim. I do feel respected, as people don't just judge me for what's on the outside and how I look, but also what I have to say.
Iran accuses celebrities of fanning the flames of riots and encouraging protests. Are the protests in Iran justified?
Men do not have the right to tell women how to dress. Allah has already done this through the Quran, and if we love Allah, we'll follow His commandments. And violent protests aren't Islamic either. Instead, we can talk to our friends, our neighbours, and even write to newspapers to convey the true beauty of Islam instead of resorting to violent protests.
The hijab is a religious requirement for all Muslim women, but nowhere in Islam does it permit others to force people to wear it.
Beloved Huzoor has also beautifully guided us on the importance of hijab and our duty as Muslim women.
यूरोप में कई बाज़ ममालिक ऐसे हैं जहाँ कानून पास किए गए हैं कि हिजाब नहीं पहनना या बाज़ पब्लिक जगहों पे हिजाब नहीं पहनना, बल्कि जुर्माना और सज़ा है। उसके बावजूद जो ईमान पे कायम औरतें और बच्चियाँ हैं, नौजवान, वो हिजाब पहनती हैं। आपने ये फ़ैसला करना है कि आया आपने खुदा ताला की बात माननी है और उसके लिए हर तकलीफ़ और हर इस्तेहज़ा और हर गलत किस्म के रिमार्क को बर्दाश्त करना है, या इन चीज़ों से डर के लोगों की बातें माननी शुरू कर देनी है और माशरे की जो चाल है उसके पीछे चलना शुरू कर देना है। तो ये फ़ैसला तो आपने करना है। एक मोमिन औरत को मजबूत ईमान होना चाहिए। आप ख़ुद फ़ैसला करें क्या चीज़ चुननी है आपने, और मैं उम्मीद रखता हूँ कि एक मोमिन औरत, एक अहम नहीं, मोमिन लड़की, बच्ची, नौजवान और औरत इस बात पर कायम रहेगी कि उसने जब मसीह मौद और महदी मौद को माना है तो उस तालीम पर अमल करना है जो कुरान करीम की तालीम है और जिस पर अमल करवाने के लिए अल्लाह ताला ने इस ज़माने में मसीह मौद को भेजा था।
Ghani, here's a question for you. How important do you think it is to keep your teeth clean?
Interesting enough you asked that question, Nasir. Our next piece is about the Islamic invention of toothbrushes. So before I answer that, let's go and find out more.
It's one of the most controversial questions of our time. Do you brush your teeth before or after you eat breakfast? Either way, did you know you're following a practice of the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ when you use a toothbrush? That's right, in our ongoing series of Islamic inventions, we're going to talk about the toothbrush. The Holy Prophet ﷺ had once said, if he would not have overburdened believers, he would have prescribed using miswak during wudu. He often stressed its use for good oral hygiene. In fact, historians credit the Holy Prophet ﷺ with popularizing the use of miswak. But what exactly is miswak, you ask? It's basically a piece of bark used as a toothbrush to clean your teeth. The Holy Prophet ﷺ recommended the arak miswak, which is Arabic for Salvadora persica tree. Even the World Health Organization recommended using miswak back in 1986. Research has shown that using a miswak actually leads to better teeth health and a lower need for any kind of teeth treatment. Using a miswak as a natural toothbrush for teeth cleaning also helps control the formation of dental plaque on teeth. It not only strengthens the gums, prevents tooth decay, and eliminates toothaches, but also makes your breath smell better. That may be because the miswak plant contains insoluble fluoride, calcium, salicylic acid, and other antioxidants. Miswak is still used in some parts of the world, but has given way to the modern toothbrush. While miswak is not as widely used anymore, some of its active components are used in mouthwash and toothpaste. We read in Sahih Bukhari that the Holy Prophet ﷺ would clean his teeth with a miswak when he woke for Tahajjud prayer. Hazrat Abu Hurairah anhu relates, the prayer for which the teeth have been cleaned by miswak is 70 times superior to the prayer for which miswak has not been used. This shows the emphasis placed on cleaning our teeth regularly, especially before prayers. So when you first wake up and brush your teeth, whether it's with a modern toothbrush or traditional miswak, just remember that you are following the blessed practice of the Holy Prophet ﷺ.
Jazakallah for that. Before that segment, I asked Ghani a question about how important he thought it was to keep his teeth clean. So, what do you have to say?
I think it's really important to keep our teeth clean. They're a very crucial part of our body. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ widely encouraged the use of miswak for good oral hygiene.
That's right.
One thing we love to do at Roundup is hear what you have to say.
This week, we asked you how often you write letters to Huzoor and why you write them. Here's what you had to say.
I write it every month, letters to Huzoor.
I write letters to Huzoor every month.
I write letters to Huzoor once a week. I try to write a letter to Huzoor every single month.
It's important to do because he can listen to your dua, and if you have an illness, Huzoor can pray to Allah and Allah can cure it.
If you write letters like if my granddad's Bamar, I can tell them that can you give praise to my granddad because he's sick right now, and then he will pray and then he might be fine. You can tell how you're doing. If someone's sick in your relatives, you can tell them. You can tell Huzoor that to pray for them. I love receiving Huzoor's replies. When I write to Huzoor, that means Huzoor is praying for me. When I see this letter on yellow paper, I know it's from Huzoor. I write to Huzoor and Anwar because I love him.
Today we're going around the world, but we're actually landing quite close to here. We are going to take a tour around the historic Fazl Masjid.
I have so many fond memories of Masjid Fazl, as do many of you. So without further ado, let's head over there right now and check it out.
Nestled in the heart of Wandsworth is the Fazl Mosque, also known as the London Mosque. This iconic building with its familiar green dome is instantly recognizable to us Ahmadi Muslims. But have you ever wondered just how much history this holy site contains? Well, let's take a look around and see for ourselves just how remarkable this blessed land is. The mosque's history begins in 1913 when the first missionary, Chaudhry Fateh Muhammad Sial Sahab, was sent here to propagate the message of the promised Messiah. He was instructed by Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad to purchase his 1-acre land here in Southfields in 1920, which would soon become the centre of the community both here in England and all around the world. This foundation stone was laid by Hazrat Muslim Maud on the 19th of October 1924, with his words still visible today. The mosque finished completion 2 years later in 1926, when it was formally opened and hundreds of dignitaries and special guests were invited to witness this momentous event. Fazl Mosque is also special because it has served as the home of not one but 2 Khalifas. Following persecution in Pakistan, Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad, the 4th Khalifa, relocated to the apartments just behind me. It remained the residence of Khilafat until 2019, when beloved Huzoor relocated to Islamabad, Tilford, making Islamabad the new Markaz. Here we are inside the mosque, where worshippers come to offer their 5 daily prayers. This mosque also has added significance because 4 Khulafa have led namaz from right here. Now we are in Mahmud Hall, named after Hazrat Muslim Maud. This hall has a variety of purposes, such as extra worship space at namaz times, and before Khilafat's relocation to Islamabad, it was also used as the venue for Huzoor's mulaqats and his classes. During Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV's time, he instructed members of the Jamaat to start MTA International to help propagate the message of Islam to the corners of the earth. The first MTA studio was built within this very complex. That was just a brief insight into the rich history of Fazl Mosque. Stay tuned as we show you more mosques from around the world, only here on Roundup.
Jazakallah for that lovely report of Fazl Mosque. It really brought back some memories.
It really did. Unfortunately, that's the end of today's episode. But don't forget, we love hearing from you. So send us your feedback on our socials or at our email at roundup@mta.tv.
Jazakallah for tuning in, and until next time, Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, I shall call, oh, I shall call, I shall call, oh, I shall call, I shall call, thy message to reach all the corners of the earth. Oh, I shall call, oh, I shall call, I shall call, oh, I shall call, I shall call, thy message to reach all the corners of the earth.